Good morning, book lovers of the internet. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe because for every subscriber, I get a new subscriber, and I also read a page from a book of my choice. So, in today's video, I am going to be reviewing this graphic novel called Invincible by Robert Kirkman. It is the first graphic novel in the series and it contains the first 7 chapters of the entire thing, which consists of 144 chapters. So I am still very much behind. I rated this one 3 stars and it has about 200 pages in all. Of course, it's a very quick read. I read it in about 2 hours, I suppose, and started it yesterday evening, finished it this morning, and I rated it 3 stars, particularly for this reason. So I bought this one from the Malta Comic Con a few months back, and I'd been recommended this series by multiple people, and I thought it would be a good idea to get in on the action. However, although it is a great start to a superhero graphic novel series, it almost feels as though I've read so many comics about superheroes that this just felt like more of the same. And it's not just comics, it's also manga like One Punch Man or My Hero Academia, for instance. And it's almost as though all the authors who write superhero stuff follow the same pattern and are just competing with each other to create the most indestructible hero. And in the case of Invincible, and as the title itself indicates, Invincible is something that cannot be destroyed. But then again, Iron Man is described in the same way, and he actually did die in Endgame, so in the case of Invincible, it is of course Omni-Man who can go without breathing for 2 entire weeks, and that is just the tip of the iceberg where his superpowers are concerned. And that's a pretty cool superpower to have, to be honest, and I wouldn't mind having it myself, let alone the flying part. Um, Mark, who is his son, is rather underwhelming so far, but to be fair, he is still learning how to use his powers, and he only gets his powers at the start of this graphic novel. He just wakes up one fine day and decides to test whether they work or whether they don't, and he discovers that they do. And he starts to learn how to use them and improves them with every chapter. Um, Omni-Man's backstory is not tragic at all, which came as a surprise to me because this is quite a much needed change. The most indestructible superheroes usually have the most tragic backstories, worst in the sense that they suffer through so much rather than being horribly written, of course. Um, and it's also interesting to see how he voluntarily asked to be allowed to help with perfecting the way people work together on our planet, on Earth, and eventually create a utopia, as is the case on the planet he lived on formerly. So, the planet he lived on before he moved to Earth had become a utopia, and the people there decided to collectively help other planets do the same in order to live in a perfect galaxy, I suppose. Um, I'm not a big fan of the cliffhanger towards the end of chapter 7, where all the Guardians of the Globe are asked to meet for an emergency meeting, and I hope that what follows in the sequel is not a letdown, as I don't have the sequel yet, and I'm not sure how long it will take me to get my hands on it. I'm also not sure whether I should buy the omnibus editions, the very thick ones, so I'll have multiple chapters all compiled into one huge edition, but that would be too expensive, perhaps. Um, In my opinion, so as I mentioned, I do have a long way to go when it comes to reading the series. But in my opinion, so far, One Punch Man and The Boys as well, by Garth Ennis, they are far better, more interesting, and I'd recommend those over Invincible any day. Though perhaps I'll have to read more of Invincible to actually know whether I like The Boys or One Punch Man or Invincible the best. Um, but yeah, if you were to ask me now, I'd certainly recommend The Boys over Invincible. The art is very vivid and I love the tones that are used. I will just show you a couple of pages so you get what I'm trying to say. Absolutely beautiful art, and there are some pages with red hues, others with blue hues. Um, Overall, it's pretty lovely, um, and also vivid in the way that the story is told. Um, right. Perhaps the most interesting part of this volume, in my opinion, is when a physics teacher um, gets the urge to transform the most popular students in his school into living time bombs. And that's an absolutely crazy and certainly an original and memorable idea. And it will stick with me for a few weeks, perhaps. I mean, it's hard to get rid of the idea of a person becoming a time bomb and being used as a weapon for evil just because he's popular at school. Of course, there is also a backstory to the physics teacher, which you'll have to read the graphic novel to find out more about. But anyway, that's all I have to say about the first Invincible graphic novel. I think there will be about 18 or 19 of these in all, and I look forward to purchasing them all and, of course, reading and reviewing them. If you've read this one, of course, let me know what you think of it in the comment section. And as usual, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, check out my shorts, my other videos, my live streams, and my community posts. And basically, do anything you can to help the channel. Playlists, of course, save you time. And thank you so much for watching. And as usual, I hope to see you in the next one very soon. Bye, guys.